You're listening to The Bible Guys, a podcast where a couple of friends talk about the Bible in fun and practical ways.
You're back, Chris.
I am back, better than ever.
Woohoo!
He's back, better than ever. Hey, I think I am better than ever.
Really?
Yeah, when I wake up every day, that's what I try to tell myself, Jeff.
Better than ever. Okay.
Today's a new day, and it's better.
Keep telling yourself that.
So hey, I do this thing at our church has a gym called HFP, Heritage Fitness Project, and Josh, one of the trainers, has a saying. And so as you're working really hard, he always says, "You're 1% better today."
Yep, that's right. 1% better. That's all you got to do.
Hey, think about it, right?
Yeah.
That's a really great perspective.
Yeah.
So
then in 99 days, you're right on the edge of being 100% better.
Yeah,
than
you've doubled yourself.
You've doubled yourself. That's right. I'm twice as good as I was 100 days ago.
That's right.
Every 3 months. Every 3 months.
Right.
Okay. Wow.
There you go.
Good for you, Chris.
Yes, thank you.
Good
It
for
is.
you.
It is good for me. The unfortunate thing is,
And our listeners just totally picked up on your flex there.
Hey, by the way,
I go to the gym all the time.
No.
My trainer.
No, because what I'm about to say is that unfortunately it's not true. The older you get, right? You can't be 5 years older and be 150% better than you've been.
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Because you're now 5 years older, right? So anyway.
Well, good. Well, hey, today, Chris, we have a very, very big thing. It's one of our most important segments.
Yes.
Mailbags, right?
Mailbags.
Right. It's our only Well, it's not our only segment, but it's one of our only segments with its own theme song.
Wait a minute. What else has a theme song?
Oh, well, we've sung a couple of times for other things.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyways.
Dad jokes.
Sarah K. Hi, Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
Sarah K says, what's the best concert or live performance you've ever been to? That's a good question. And then it says, P.S. Jeff, you can't say it was hearing Chris sing on the podcast. Haha.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I don't know what I'm going to say.
Right.
I don't know what I'm going to say.
Because truly, that was the clear choice.
I've been around some really great music. And yours is some music.
You've been to see the opera guy. What's his name?
What?
The opera guy.
Oh, Andrea Bocelli?
Yeah. It's either me on the podcast.
Or Andrea Bocelli.
Or him. Yeah. That's so funny. I know who he is. I just can't say his name correctly. I don't want to butcher it.
Right.
Okay, so are you ready?
No, go ahead. Yes, please.
Okay.
Please.
So I'm going to give you an answer that will probably surprise you.
Okay.
Because I've been to, like you, probably quite a few concerts. I've been to, I would say dozens and dozens, right? 50 concerts maybe? 40? I don't know, in your lifetime. You know, the kind you pay for and you go and it's a big deal. I would say my absolute best live performance I've ever been to, because it does say live performance, is Lady Gaga in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I think you've told us this before.
Because it was unbelievable. Tony Bennett passed on to her the mantle of carrying the baton for jazz.
Yeah.
And so she did jazz. And so what I had discovered is that she is a phenomenal musician, and she's so technical and she's so knowledgeable, and her performance, her ability to perform for the audience is almost higher than anybody I've ever seen.
What?
She's unbelievable.
Okay.
Like, and what I mean by that is, like total respect.
Yeah.
Right. My respect for her went through the roof because, remember when she first came out, it was all goofy. It was just goofy stuff, right? It was just, how different can I look?
Girl, Elton John.
Yes. And I just never could have imagined that she was who she is.
Okay. So I have a weird answer for you too.
Okay.
I don't think I've paid for a dozen concerts in my lifetime.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've played in hundreds of concerts.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've paid for 12 concerts my whole life.
For the listeners who don't know, Jeff used to play the trumpet. Well, I guess I could say used to, right?
Yeah. Sure. I don't play it very much anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
And I don't play for
money.
Yeah, for money anymore.
Yeah.
So, I've played in hundreds of concerts, but I don't think I've ever paid to go more than maybe 10 times. We love Broadway, but I've been to like 5 Broadway shows. We don't do the theater.
Well, I wouldn't consider that a concert, although maybe it is. Is it?
Yeah. Well, they're singing and dancing.
I know, but
what more do you need? Lady Gaga sang and danced.
They call that a musical play, and I don't know, concert.
Well, it says or live performance.
Oh, it does say that. Or live performance.
Yeah.
Oh, well then, hey,
Reading-
wait a minute.
reading helps,
wait a minute.
Chris.
Because now I'm changing my mind.
Okay.
It's got to be Wicked in New York.
Yeah, I was going to say, we saw Wicked in New York twice.
Yeah.
And I like that.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was good.
We saw it with the original ladies.
Holy Christmas.
Yeah. It
That's
was
a privilege.
phenomenal.
That's a privilege.
Yeah. It was a few years into the show,
Yeah.
So we had, I was going to do a matinee, and then we changed it the first time we went and saw it.
Yeah.
And we changed it and went to the evening, and the evening was the 2 original cast members. So that was pretty great.
That's crazy is what that is.
Mm-hmm. Hysterically funny.
Yeah.
Because they'd done the show so many times
Yeah.
that at this point they were fooling around with it.
Yeah.
And you know how they turn and look at the crowd anyways, or,
Yes.
break that wall.
Yeah.
They were on purpose trying to make the other one laugh.
Oh, that's funny.
It was really funny.
Yeah.
And so that was great. When the characters they're not breaking the wall entirely, other than when they're supposed to in the show, but they're on purpose trying to make the other one,
and you can
get
tell.
out of character. Yeah,
can tell it's
it was
obvious.
hysterically funny. And then there were things where they were supposed to say a thing, but they said a totally different thing. Stuff like that. Very, very funny. So that was great. It was hysterically funny. I would say that was, as far as live performances go, we've been to a few Broadway shows. That's probably my favorite. As far as concerts go, I don't know. The last time we saw Andrea Bocelli was pretty great. Just because of the level of musicianship is just insane through the roof.
Yeah.
You know what? As far as one of my favorite, let me say this because we have another couple seconds. One of my favorite experiences, and this is so dumb because it's not that high level, was my wife and I went to the Detroit Symphony, and they played the Princess Bride movie.
Yes.
And then they played all the music.
Yeah.
But there's no music to Princess Bride. If you think through it, there's no soundtrack.
Okay.
Music. So,
well, they do that goofy music.
Yeah. But I mean, there's not like just the John Williams soundtrack behind it.
Yeah.
So I forgot which symphony or which writer did it, but somebody went back and redid the whole thing, and it was magnificent. It was just fabulous, hysterically funny. The whole crowd shouting out all the lines, and stuff like that. So that was a really fun night. And of course, Detroit Symphony is one of the top symphonies in the world. So
yeah. And I'm gonna say honorable mention the Rockettes in New York.
Oh, you've said that before too.
Yeah. It was top notch.
Yeah.
So
okay. Well, there you go, Sarah Kay. We sorry to disappoint you on that one. As much as we like music and shows, we kind of.
Yeah. Well, I thought they were great answers, Jeff. I thought we did well.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Man, we did such a good job. Thanks for asking a good question, Sarah. So, talking about doing a good job, Solomon's pretty miserable about his life and isn't so happy about all of his work.
But he did a good job writing this.
Yeah, good job, Solomon. Good job, buddy.
Solomon.
People like you.
Doggone it.
Doggone it, people love you. So we are in Ecclesiastes chapter 5. And just as a reminder, if you're joining us for the first time this week, we've already gone a couple chapters in the book of Ecclesiastes. Solomon is incredibly wise. He's the wisest man apart from Jesus that ever walked the planet. But
or ever will.
Yeah, but he made some really bad choices. So there's a difference between having wisdom and acting in a wise way. So he kind of fooled himself into being more clever than he was wise with regard to his diplomacy, and he winds up being led astray by all of his wives into worshiping other gods, and God winds up taking his kingdom away from him over it.
Yeah.
Well, away from his family. So by the time he gets to writing Ecclesiastes, he's kind of spiraling. Like, man, I think I've wasted my life. None of my work matters. None of my wealth matters. None of the things I've done matter, right? And he's kind of spiraling. Every once in a while, he'll say something really meaningful, like, oh, I did learn this. We should learn to enjoy the fruit of our work every once in a while. That there's wisdom in that. But then he'll start to spiral again, and then he'll come back out of it, and then he'll spiral again. And so,
hey, what does that say about life? That here's the wisest man who has ever lived or will ever live, and his downfall is women.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right? Like, what does that tell you?
Yeah.
That means, it's like reminds me of the favorite joke we did last week. Did you do the joke with the arm and a leg with Adam and Eve?
No.
You didn't do it?
I didn't do it.
Did you read it, though?
Yeah.
So God approaches Adam. He creates him in the garden and says, hey, I'm going to create for you a creature that's so wonderful. She's going to be perfect. She's never going to be moody. and she's going to you're going to know exactly what she's thinking at all times, and she'll always be pleasant. And he says, and she's going to be called woman. And he goes, that sounds fantastic. And God says, it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. And he goes, ooh, what can I get for just a rib?
So that's terrible, Chris.
It's terrible.
You're gonna
I know
send your
why.
complaints to czarbaugh@thebibleguys.com.
Hey, you have a tendency to avoid all that stuff. Right?
I do, man.
Yeah.
I do.
I wrote it in the message. I tossed it out there, and it's no surprise that you did not.
I'm the one that always gets all the hate mail.
Right.
Yeah. So that was a funny one. It didn't fit in that spot where I was at in the message.
Yeah.
That's what happened there. So. Yeah, so if you don't know, we work in teaching teams, and Chris is the leader of our teaching team. So often he'll send us a proposed transcript for the message for the weekend.
Right.
And I was speaking at one of our locations. He was speaking at the other. And he told the joke from stage, and I did not.
Yes, so. Correct.
Yeah. So anyways, here he is now, and he repeats a number of things throughout the book. And one of those is he struggles with the value of work. He struggles with the injustices in life. And he also with the futility of wealth. And so he says, don't be surprised if you see a poor person being oppressed by the powerful, and if justice is being miscarried throughout the land. For every official is under orders from higher up, and matters of justice get lost in red tape and bureaucracy.
There's a mouthful.
Even the king milks the land for his own profit. Those who love money will never have enough. How meaningless to think that wealth brings true happiness. The more you have, the more people come to help you spend it. So what good is wealth, except perhaps to watch it slip through your fingers? People who work hard sleep well, whether they eat little or much, but the rich seldom get a good night's sleep. There is another serious problem I have seen under the sun. Hoarding riches harms the saver. Money is put into risky investments that turn sour, and everything is lost. In the end, there's nothing left to pass on to one's children. We all come to the end of our lives as naked and empty-handed as on the day we were born. We can't take our riches with us. And this, too, is a very serious problem. People leave this world no better off than they came. All their hard work is for nothing, like working for the wind. Throughout their lives, they live under a cloud, frustrated, discouraged, and angry. Even so, I've noticed one thing, at least, that is good. It's good for people to eat, drink, and enjoy their work under the sun during their short life God has given them, to accept their lot in life. And it is a good thing to receive wealth from God and the good health to enjoy it. To enjoy your work and accept your lot in life, this is indeed a gift from God. God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they take no time to brood over the past. There is another serious tragedy I've seen under the sun, and it weighs heavily on humanity. God gives some people great wealth and honor and everything they could ever want, but then he doesn't give them the chance to enjoy these things. They die, and someone else, even a stranger, ends up enjoying their wealth. And this is meaningless, a sickening tragedy. A man might have 100 children and live to be very old, but if he finds no satisfaction in life, doesn't even get a decent burial, it would have been better for him to be born dead. His birth would have been meaningless, and he would have ended in darkness. He wouldn't have even had a name, and he would never have seen the sun or known of its existence. Yet he would have had more peace than in growing up to be an unhappy man. He might live 1,000 years twice over, but still not find contentment. And since he must die like everyone else, well, what's the use? All people spend their lives scratching for food, but they never seem to have enough. So are wise people really better off than fools? Do poor people gain anything by being wise and knowing how to act in front of others? Enjoy what you have rather than desiring what you don't have. Just dreaming about nice things is meaningless, like chasing the wind. He uses that phrase, like chasing the wind, over and over and over again. So, well, there you go.
Right. Hey, I remember this passage, particularly chapter 5, let me start over.
Yeah.
It sticks out to me because when I was in high school, I had just become a Christian, and I was reading through the New Testament. I got through that, and then I was going through the Old Testament, and you know how God does these things sometimes that seem to be more than coincidence?
Yeah.
And I was in Ecclesiastes, and I had read it, and in my mind, you know, just being a teenager, not having any life experience at all, I read it and thought to myself, okay, this is, number one of the most depressing things ever, right? And it feels like to me, like Solomon is just, you know, down on his luck, or keep in mind, I'm 15 at the time, right?
Right.
So I just didn't quite know. So I thought to myself, here's a guy who's depressed, and, you know, he's just sitting there feeling sorry for himself or something like this. I'm like, this is just an unrelatable, chapter completely to me. And then I remember there was this guy that went to my church, and he was like, it didn't matter. Anyway, I just had a conversation with him, and I remember him saying, I relate to Ecclesiastes chapter 5. And I thought to myself, what? Like, I literally just read Ecclesiastes chapter 5. And he had lived this story.
Oh, yeah.
He had lived having a ton of children, pursuing wealth, having no satisfaction, nobody really cared for him, and he understood why. He accepted that lot in life, and he had a fear of going to his deathbed thinking that he has absolutely made no impact in this world. Now, while the conversation was completely tragic, and it really truly was, especially for me being 15, it stood out to me, and what brought to my attention is that, wow, isn't it amazing how God's word is for everybody? And what probably, hopefully, will never be able to be related to me. I can't read that and go, wow, that's me. I could probably never do that. Principles, yes, right? But in terms like truth and wisdom and all that, but related.
I can say, wow, that's me. The richer you get, the more hangers on you have. Everybody wants to spend all your money.
Right. But you know what I'm saying? Just the whole die and everything. You might as well not have been born. That kind of thing. Sure. That kind of thing. But yet I'm thinking to myself, isn't it funny how God's word can speak to different people at different times? And I just love it. And I also love how maybe perhaps you can go back and read Ecclesiastes maybe 20 years later, and it would mean something completely different to you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Because,
it's just how God's word is. It's very powerful.
So, as I mentioned, he kind of spirals. He goes in these really bad loops. And it's, I think what you have is, at this point, he's made his mistakes. He's been informed he's going to lose his kingdom. He's already tried to kill Rehoboam. And so you've got a little bit of this. He's looking at his life and going, I wasted my life.
Right.
There's a little bit of this. Really? Why did I spend so much time trying to get more money? I already had more money than I could spend in my life. He's the richest man that had ever lived up to that point.
Yep.
And, kings and queens from around the world brought him even more wealth. And when we say bringing more wealth, remember when we talked about the Queen of Sheba? She brought him like a ton of gold, tons of gold.
Yeah, right? Billions.
Yeah, billions of dollars. He was so absurdly wealthy, and yet he's saying, but I found myself chasing just a little more. And then I had so much power, but I found myself chasing just a little more. And so you find himself many times through here going, the one thing I did learn. So the one good thing, he says, even so, I've noticed one thing at least that's good, and it's good for people to eat and drink and enjoy their work under the sun during the short life that God has given them and to accept their lot in life. He's like, I think almost every time you see him spiraling, for a minute he pivots back. Give you something good. There's like always this good nugget.
Yeah.
And in here he's going like, you know what I wished I'd done? I wished I'd stopped to smell the roses. Mm-hmm. I wished I'd stopped and pet the puppy. I wished I would have stopped and thrown the ball with the grandkids in the backyard. I wish that we would have gone to Disney one more time. I wished I would have, right? I wished I would have spent my life doing the things that really matter. Sitting down and taking time instead of getting all my food through the window in a drive-through because I'm hurrying on to my next meeting. I wish we sat down for one more good meal. And there is something to that. There's a lot of people I know that have been very successful. That, as a matter of fact, I was with a guy in Naples, Florida, a while back, and he's wealthy beyond comprehension to me. Just the amount of money this guy has is staggering to me. And he was about, I think he's 90 now. So I was with him when he was like 88, and he was with one of his best buddies, who's wealthy but not that wealthy.
Sure.
Right. When you're worth several million and you're around a guy worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right? You just kind of, you're hoping he picks up the check, right? And so we're at a little diner, this nothing diner. Yeah. It's one of those, with like the stainless steel and the shiny sign outside. It's one of those. The stools, red and silver, all in the building, all this stuff. The lady chewing bubble gum. She comes up and orders the food, and very clearly they're putting on this diner show. Yeah. So it's his favorite little diner for breakfast. So we go there for breakfast, and he just clearly is a miserable person. He's done a lot of things. He has some health issues. But then his buddy got him laughing. Then he starts laughing, telling funny stories. And so he comes in grumpy, challenging me. I was with David Nelms. He's challenging David Nelms, kind of a little foul because he's wanting to measure money and he's wanting to measure investments. Blah, 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 blah. Then his buddy gets him laughing. Yeah. And then it starts to like poking fun. And he's really sarcastic. So then he starts poking fun. I was delighted at how funny he was. So I'm laughing. We're going back and forth, laugh, slamming each other, doing all these things. And next thing you know, by the time we were done, he's like, I need more of these. How about I fly you guys down again next week? We'll do it again.
Aw.
Right? So you had this grumpy, old, very wealthy man.
Great.
Who laughed and laughed and laughed for an hour. When we decided, okay, we're not going to talk about money.
Yeah.
And his buddy got him to pivot off of money into funny things. All of a sudden it turns into funny. And he went from being this guy that's just, I got to control this dollar.
Right.
And he's got so many dollars he can't control them all anyways. Right. He's trying to give, well, I'm not going to say it. He's trying to give away hundreds of millions of dollars before he dies. So he's just uptight about it. And this is exactly what I'm saying. He said, poor people tend to think wealthy people have it all, and it's just the best ever. And he said, man, wealthy people can't sleep. They're worrying all the time. Everybody wants something from them. People are trying to take advantage of them, right? Mm-hmm. So it's not how much money you have. What he finally says is, I discovered, enjoy the people you're with, enjoy the meals you're having, learn to laugh a little bit, and enjoy your lot in life. And that's what I saw in that very wealthy man is he's like, hey, I'm going to fly you guys down. We'll do this again next week. It was so much fun. And he was a totally different person in that moment. Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of wisdom in that sentence where Solomon says God keeps such people so busy enjoying life that they take no time to brood over the past. Yeah. So so I guess there's a hint of enjoying in there, but but there is something also wise about reflection, because isn't it true? You can get through seasons of your life where you live so much in the present, meaning like the only thing in the future that's on your mind is like, what do I have to do today or this week just to get through this present season, right? Yeah. And if you live like that, sometimes for years people live, then it's it's one of those things where you look back. Those are the people, by the way, who get to the end of their life and say, where did all the time go? Right. And I can't believe that they were this big 5 minutes ago, because they're just trying to do the daily grind. And somebody who enjoys their lot in life, accepts it, reflects on the past, appreciates it. If you're a person who really, truly soaks up the moment, then I don't think you're gonna ever really get to the place where you're gonna say, where did all the time go? Right. I think you're gonna say, wow, time went quick. Yeah. But I don't think you're going to say, holy cow, where did it all go? I missed it.
Yeah, I missed it, yeah. The note, Life Application Study Bible, says, God wants us to view what we have, whether it's much or little, with the right perspective. Our possessions are a gift from God. Although they are not the source of joy, they are a reason to rejoice. Because every good thing comes from God. We should focus more on the giver than the gift. We can be content with what we have when we realize that in God, we have everything we need.
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
That's great.
And that's really the essence of this passage. So when you see this guy who's kind of spiraling and struggling with his decisions, he does give you these glimpses of what really matters. And so whenever I read Ecclesiastes, I plow through all the negative, because his feelings aren't necessarily true. They're just feelings, right? But every once in a while, he gives you this nugget of what really does matter. And there's a lot of value with somebody that you would look at and go, he has everything I want. And then he finally distills it down into sentences like that, say, this is what really matters. And so the whole book is peppered with those kinds of things. But ultimately, it's way easier to be happy with what you have when you realize you have everything you need in God, right?
That's great. Yeah. That's great. Well, that sounds like a great place to end, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow on the Bible Guys.